stuff for the Tangerine Kandy bike. These are the side covers for getting these prepped. I wish I'd used a different color gel coat on it. It'd be easier to prep because the white's tough to see. And the fact that I got the base underneath that Candy Tangerine is black, so it's all gonna go black anyway. And fan noise is in there, so sorry about that, but I ain't into sweating all day today. What we're doing is this gel coat on these fiberglass parts has to be sanded for the paint to stick to it. Plus, gel coat's not exactly level, and I can't really show you that because it's white and the camera's not going to show it. Basically what we do is we sand until that gel coat is flat. That way when we put the paint on, the paint's good and flat. We got to dry the part to see where it needs sanding, because you'll see the shiny spots that haven't been sanded yet as we're leveling this gel coat. I can see some along there, and there's a lot right in there, so I can feel those. The idea is to not go through the gel coat if you can help it. Some places you might have to get it level, but if you can keep from going through the gel coat, it keeps that glass protected. A lot of people don't know why gel coat was necessary, but gel coat's necessary because fiberglass is not waterproof. You might think it is, but it's not. So what we're doing is with that gel coat is just seals the glass up to be waterproof. And that's the reason they have to use gel coat on boats. Good to be waterproof on this stuff just because you don't have to worry about water soaking through on the backside, but that's the reason I wish they gel coat them on the backside, but they don't. Probably what I'll do with these is I'll spray some black paint on the inside of this just to keep it dark. When we put that orange on the outer edge, on the outer skin, that'll keep that color good and bright on the outside with that dark background. Won't show through. Yep. It still looks pretty shiny. Get all this in here first. Double check that, and then we'll go to this. I'll have you work sides on it. These are the doors for the fairing, and we got a lot of little parts to prep. That's the reason I brought the table in here. What I will do on these fairing parts, these inner fairing parts, I'm running into issues with paint not sticking to this plastic. 3M makes a adhesion promoter for plastic. So once I get all the fairing parts prepped, I will shoot some adhesion promoter on it, and then we'll let that dry before we shoot the base coat on it. And that works real good. I've shot golf carts that way. Golf carts are notorious doing custom paint on a golf cart. The paint just will not stick. You can, it'll come off those golf carts first car wash you hit with it. So that adhesion promoter, if it works on those golf carts, it works good. Plastic parts, you can tell where you have sand because they'll be shiny still. Same with any part. I'm gonna let those dry and take a look at them. Small parts like this I'll sand, but I'll also go over with a 320 scuff pad because that scuff pad will get the little cracks that I couldn't get to with a sandpaper. It's important you get all the edges on this plastic stuff. That paint doesn't have any scratches to hold on to on the edges. It's going to peel back. Not immediately, but down the road. And pride myself on a lot of my paint jobs are still running on the road right now from years ago. Paint job's only as good as the prep that went underneath it. You'll also know you got plastics sanded good when they don't beat up water. Put water over it and it's still beating up water, then it's not sanded good enough. Best way to tell if you got everything sanded enough. It's a bit shiny. You don't have it sanded enough. These are a 320 scuff pad. They're about the equivalent of 320 sandpaper. What I'm doing is I just cut a piece off so I don't waste the whole pad. Now over these plastic parts, once these are sanded, they're ready. Those are sanded with 320, they're ready. Over these plastic parts, I gotta make sure I get in all the little nooks and crannies and everywhere. So after we get done sanding these, I'll take a scuff pad and go over them, and those little fibers on that scuff pad will get in any of the places that I haven't gotten sandpaper. Now these doors I did not sand the underneath side. We'll take this before we paint this. This inside the fairing is all black. We don't want half orange overspray underneath there when we put that all together. Once I'm pretty sure I've got this sanded, I'm going to take a paper towel, wash it down, and then I'm going to take a dry paper towel and dry it. This is my go-to, folks. Scott paper towels. There's two different kinds of these paper towels. Scott makes these that are all blue, light blue. They make another set that have cross pattern in them, and those are not paint safe. These are. What I mean by paint safe is I can wax a bike with these Scott towels over fresh clear coat, and they will not scratch the clear coat. Once I get a part wiped down, I'm gonna go put it back in the box, and I pull it out of it so that stay fairly clean. We close up the box. Check all your corners so you get a dry paper towel and wipe it down good, dry it off good. You might want to wash it down before you dry it off. And because we've been wet sanding, it's okay to scuff these wet. Won't hurt anything. The idea of the scuff pad is just to get all the rounded areas good, get all the corners good. Because this scuff pad will roll around it a lot easier than a folded up piece of sandpaper will. Like I was saying, I can get in that edge right there that I can't hardly get with sandpaper. Because this is scratchy on all sides, I can get all three sides in there easily. That way I know everything's hit thorough. A lot of the reasons why I hire girls to help sand and prep because they're meticulous about finding little edges and little corners and making sure they get something done right. You notice how she's been working on this the whole time. I've been getting everything else done. She's making sure that that's sanded properly for me so when I paint it I don't have any issues. And she's new at this, so she's just taking care that she gets everything right. I've been doing this for 40 years now, so I can go over something pretty quick. I would rather her take more time on getting something right than trying to keep up with me, so she'll get faster. I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not. Let's see if I can get this to focus. See those shiny spots in there? That means that's not sanded enough. I haven't got that gel coat completely leveled on that corner. Everything else is looking good, except for, look like I just, see that in the light right there? That's got to be sanded some more as well. This is good gel coat on this stuff too, so it takes a little bit to get it all sanded down. Always wash your parts. You leave sand and dust on these parts and you store them before you can get paint on them. That sand and dust will melt its way back into the paint stuff and you won't get it out. You'll have to re-sand it. So always wash and dry off your parts before you put them up. Go ahead and unpack that and start sanding really. I got her started on a back bottom. That's the least fun of everything. Because there's a lot of area there. Now this scuff pad will get in spots where the sandpaper doesn't. It says shiny right through there. I know you can't because it's too far away, but anywhere you see shiny, you can get in there with a scuff pad most of the time. That's why I use scuff pad on these parts like this, and so we can get into those nooks, crannies, corners, edges. If you have to, you can fold this scuff pad up or wad it up to get it into areas that need to be sanded. What I say by this scuff pad getting in areas you can't. I sanded this. You can see that's still shiny. That area is still shiny. I can get in there with this scuff pad and I can get all that sanded properly. That's what I'm getting at with sandpaper. You're not going to get everything with sandpaper. These plastic parts are critical. You get them sanded good. Because everywhere you don't sand, that paint's not going to stick. The idea is to get the base coat to stick before you even put the clear coat over it. So you've got to have this stuff stick. We would scuff it inside those buttonholes because that's just another place for that paint not to stick or break loose. All these edges, this scuff pad will get them a lot better than sandpaper will too. I like to film people's paint jobs because to get an idea how much work goes into a nice paint job. Unfortunately, they get a couple hours of video as opposed to what really happens, which is about 20 hours of prep time and another 10 hours of paint time and then another so many hours working the clear coat, making it nice, buffing it, getting it ready. Let that dry before we put it in the box. This is on the motorcycle still, so it's loaded with bugs. So I'll take a wet scuff pad and get all the bugs off before I even sand it. Normally all these parts that we're sanding, these small parts that I'm sanding right now would be black on a new bike. Didn't matter what color the bike would be, these would be black, just to save Harley money. The way we're doing this bike is he's spending a lot of money on making this thing nice. You'll see when we get to the fenders and stuff. This is for another shop. He's doing the rest of the work on this bike. I'm just doing the paint work on it. And I appreciate his business 100%. We'll make sure we get him a good job. I spotted a couple of spots on this now that it's dry that need to be scuffed. These scuff pads will work better dry, but having to clean these parts with water all the time. If this scuff pad hits any water, it's just going to collect it and hang on to it for an hour. Another thing these scuff pads are good for is getting right in a crease. Getting all three edges of that sanded so the paint will stick all the way across that. Now, I'm using a lot of pressure with this scuff pad on this because we're not hitting it with a sandpaper because this has a little bit of texture to it and I don't want to ruin the texture. I want that texture to come through when we paint it so that it looks stock. Now these parts here will definitely get plastic parts adhesion promoter sprayed on before we spray these because this interfering will be fun. Well, I'd say we're about done for the day. We got a lot more stuff to prep. I gotta get back on the airbrushing tomorrow. Possibly be prepping tomorrow night after we get done with the airbrush on the firefighter bike. So we're probably gonna call it a day for today. About dinner time. Y'all check back with us tomorrow.